Hello there, folks. The sun is shining outside, and I thought it was a good idea to do something that I have been a little bit behind with lately, and that I have done in numerous videos, and that is another year chart. For those of you who are new or have watched this before, I'm a part in a couple of Facebook groups where we do top 50 charts of the best songs for a certain year and show them step by step to each other. And I'm showing the top 25 from those year charts right here on the channel. You also will get the 26 to 50 in a faster version. So that is the concept for this video and the other year chart videos I made. And the year we're coming to right now is 1988, which is a year that I have already shown actually. But then in that video that I did a couple of years ago, I showed my top 50 of 1988 as it was made back then, because I made a top 50 back in 1988 on New Year's Eve then, and this video is the best song from 1988 created now. So it's interesting to see how we have changed. If you want to see the places that Ventil's song had back then, I will leave a link to the video then in the description area. So 1988, it was a year when I was turning 14. Musically, I didn't think it was that great year, maybe because I was still in a kind of synth pop mood, and synthesizers was getting used a little bit less, at least to synth pop style. It was very much okay, mainstream pop that was okay, nothing more, nothing less. It was hard to find those that I felt, yeah. But through the years, 1988 has grown on me a bit. I realized that there were some really great songs also, actually. Especially when it comes to Swedish music. 1988 was one of the strongest Swedish music years in the 80s. Let's start with the places 26 to 50 that will come in a little faster version right here. So those were the songs underneath the chart that I will start showing right now, from number 25. A very interesting year. Let's see what we have. And the ironic thing here is that I'm complaining that it wasn't all that much synth pop, and the first thing we will find at number 25 is Erasure, Ship of Fools. A very sad little emotional and really fine little synth pop ballad in a very important subject. So really nice and well made song. Number 24, a band that you will see a whole lot. I can say that there are certain artists here that you will see numerous times. Some you will see even with 3 different kind of songs. Won't spoil yet. Is this artist one of them? I can at least show one of them. Pet Shop Boys, of course, I'm talking about. That had some really amazing singles in '88. Left to My Own Devices. Real great lyrics. Che Guevara and Debussy to a disco beat. I really like that line. The B-side has been debated, but I think the B-side is pretty funny. The sound of the atom splitting. It's odd. You can say that, it's odd. But it's a really great song. Definitely one of Pet Shop Boys' best. Number 23, we're coming to the proof of that 1988 were a great Swedish year. This is a band that had a great 1987 and '88, and then they more or less faded away. It is a band called French Revolution. It was a band focused around producer Paris Edvinsson, and where he actually borrowed in different kind of vocalists. The lyrics were very much about science fiction, and the biggest hit they had in 1987 was called The Light from Fantasia, which was kind of paranormal theme, and this is Alien 2 Falling, which also has a kind of science fiction theme in it. But it is a really amazing Swedish synth pop style with very much dance beat in it. I really like this one. With a little sad tone in the melody, but still an amazing one. 1988 was also a big year for Stock Aitken Waterman, the British disco producers that more or less owned the entire British music industry in the late 80s. However, I will have a whole lot more Stock Aitken Waterman in 1989. I don't know, they did the great songs in '88 also, but for some reason 1989 have been the year where I have the most Stock Aitken Waterman. So that will be shown in a later video. But they of course have some songs here. And at number 22, Mel and Kim, and extremely catchy, That's the Way It Is. Mel and Kim, the sisters Appleby, and if you who have seen the video knows that this is a video that the sisters never did actually themselves. They have two videos for this. One which they don't appear in at all, the dance video, and one which more or less is just different kind montage of different kind of stuff Mel and Kim did through their career, because Mel Appleby already then had her cancer spreading, and she would eventually die also later this year. But this is, in my opinion, maybe their absolute best song. Extremely catchy, extremely great disco groove in it. Number 21, an artist that I liked very big this year. I bought her album on cassette in 1989, I think. I now have it also on vinyl. I'm talking about Kim Wilde, Never Trust a Stranger. A really great production. A lot of these songs from '88 are songs with the best, biggest production and greatest dance beats. And Never Trust a Stranger is Kim Wilde goes disco, and it is a real powerful production and a real great melody. Number 20, we have a band that I have shown in previous videos. Great year also for Australian Icehouse, that released this album Man of Colors in 1987. When it comes to this song, Many might have it as 1987, but here in Sweden it was also a summer hit in 1988. So I put it in 88. And it is a real great pop rock style, because Icehouse here has walked more towards kind of a rockier, little rockier style, but it worked really well, and Ivan Davis' voice is great as usual, and I really like this song Electric Blue. We have at number 19 a band that is more 1987 for many, but this single came in 1988, and it is Johnny Hayes Jazz with Clark Dashler at the vocals, and a really nice pop beat in it. I really think this is really great. As much as I do like also the previous singles, I Don't Want to Be a Hero and Shattered Dreams, I think this one is so magnificent, and it is different kind of beats than the others actually, but I like it very much. And back then in spring it was one of my absolute favorites. We have at number 18 a band that is one of my absolute favorites, and they released a great underrated album in 1988 called Staring at the Sun, an album that has been seen as not one of the best, but I disagree. I think it is a really great album by Level 42, of course. And at number 18 we have a ballad that is sadly forgotten today, Take a Look. I really like the little melancholic and sad mood in this song. I like Mark King's voice, of course, and I like it's amazing melody. Such a nice sounding and relaxing song, actually. Very well made. Number 17. Coming to a song that I don't have as a single. I'm not sure if it's even released as a single, because it was more a soundtrack that became very big and played a lot in radio still. It's also on their album Dancing in the Shadows, at least some of the versions of it. But I picked it also in a movie called PS Sista Sommaren, PS The Last Summer, that was very big in Sweden in 1988 on the cinemas. And so I picked the soundtrack of this movie. The movie I don't think is all that interesting. I think it's a pretty bad movie in my opinion. But it has a really great soundtrack with songs by the elite of Swedish artists back then. And at number 17 we have these guys, Trans Dance, and a song called Emergency, the first one on B-side. And Trans Dance was this little punk disco synth new wave stylish band with their own, as you can see, unique image. And I really liked them back in between 88 to in the late 80s, that is. And Emergency is definitely one of the absolute best. It's a really awesome groove and really great disco beat, and I like Ben Marlene's voice. I've always been a fan of his voice. And Emergency is definitely one of my absolute favorite songs by Trans Dance. We have at number 16 a song that won back in 1988 when I made that chart back then. I would assume that I had some personal reasons to put it back that high, that I was influenced by certain things beyond the musically. But it is a great song nonetheless, but it has been going down on the chart through the years, maybe because I've heard it Little too much, but still it is a fantastic piece of nostalgia, and it is a real great great song, definitely. I'm talking about Swedish Mauro Scocco and the song Sara, that was the song of the year also in many charts back in 1988. But as I said, it has been going down on the charts through the years, but I still like it a lot, or else it wouldn't be here. We have a real nice stack of Swedish here. We have a real big part Swedish songs here. But this one is more familiar to you outside of Sweden also. I'm talking about Roxette and Listen to Your Heart. That was a huge hit in USA, #1 song in USA, but that was several years later. In Sweden it was released back in 1988. And Marie Fredriksson sings so amazing in this one. Also a song that I've heard maybe a little too much, but Marie's voice and the amazing mood in this one definitely lifts it up and places it at number 16 at my chart this time. Number 14, more Swedish. Also a name that one of my absolute favorites. For one of the albums that is one of my, if not my favorite album by this individual. And I'm talking about Sweden's singer-songwriter king Peter Lemark. And at number 14 we have the song Sång för April, Song for April. Real cozy, laid back little mood song that it says Song for April, and it definitely sounds like a spring song, and I really I liked it back then, and it stood the test of time. And will I return to this album? Wait and see. We have at number 13, now we're leaving Sweden and goes to Germany, and we have at number 13 Peter Schilling. Peter Schilling had a hit outside of Europe, I think, with Major Tom, and in 1988 he hooked up with producer Michael Cretu, who many know today as Enigma, and created this amazing disco pearl. The Different Story, World of Lust and Crime. And as it is Michael Cretu who has produced it, it's a marvelous, big, atmospheric production with an amazing disco beat. And the melody is just fantastic. It's a song that really takes at least me somewhere when I'm listening to it. And while we're at it with Michael Cretu, number 12, Sandra, Stop for a Minute, which is from this movie, Sally Pali, never heard of, but Sandra, one of my absolute favorite singers in the world, and she's gorgeous also, and fantastic production, and she has a great voice, very mysterious and atmospheric, and great mood in this one. We have at number 11 a band that I'm returning to Pet Shop Boys' Domino Dancing, where Pet Shop Boys first was introduce us to their interest of Latin music that will be shown in their later hits in the 90s on the album Bilingual. But you can see here also Latin American Party. But also such an amazing beat, amazing groove in this one, and a little sad story behind it, and also a great B-side on this one called Don Juan, a B-side that could, like many other Pet Shop Boys B-sides, could have easily been on any Pet Shop Boys album, actually, except with also not only being on as a B-side. Number 10, from Britain, one of my absolute favorite summer soundtracks. I'm talking about Roddy Frame, aka Aztec Camera, and his hit Somewhere in My Heart. This is definitely one of the songs I want to hear every summer, because the airy production, the guitars and the beat is so amazing, and it's really sitting at a cliff watching the ocean and digging to this one. It has a fantastic summer feeling in it. I can't describe how many times I've listened to it. Number 9, we're coming to a band that I think this one was also pretty okay big outside of Europe. Their biggest hits from a fantastic album called Flag, talking about Jello from Switzerland, Dieter Meier and Boris Blanc, and their iconic hit The Race, a song that sounds like nothing else. It's a real experimental and funny song, but that also fits so well with the really great beat that it has, and such an amazing song. Yellow has made so many great albums and songs. Flag is my favorite Yellow album, and this is definitely one of my absolute favorite Yellow songs, even though it is their biggest, is also a really great one. So, at number 8, I can now, for those of you who haven't figured that out already, reveal that one of the artists that has 3 different kind of songs in this chart is Pet Shop Boys, of course, because at number 8 we have Heart, a song that sounds a little bit different on single than it does on vinyl, and I think that normally I'm not that fond of when you mix it, does a single version, one verse on single and one on the album, but doesn't differs that much, but R is still a little bit different, and in this case the single is a little bit better, actually, in my opinion, than the album version, but really amazing beat and groove in this one, and fantastic melody and production. Number 7, late 80s was also the year for British House. Of course, there are some that belongs in the top, like S-Express, iconic theme from S-Express. Also a song that is very unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen next in the song. S-Express, Mark Moore's project, the producer, and it is a really amazing dance beat in this one, and really fantastic and song filled with a lot of fantasy and amazing effects and samples. Number 6. Yes, the synth pop genre was little bit having a little bit down period, but that doesn't stop me, of course. I need to have some Depeche Mode. But number 6, another single from the Music for the Masses album, Behind the Wheel. Also a song that sounds a bit different on single than it does on vinyl. And in this case, I think also that the single version is a bit better. Here I would have preferred if this was on the album actually. But real mysterious nightly mood in this song, and great synth pop style. Real fantastic. This is definitely one of my favorite Depeche Mode songs. Number 5, a cult classic that is so amazing in the beat, and it really is an earworm that gets stuck in your head and you don't want it to leave. The Time Lords, pre-KLF, and Doctor in the TARDIS. Doctor Who, where they sampled Gary Glitter and made it way better than the original. And also a song that is very unpredictable. It's funny, and it is filled with imagination, and has such an amazing groove in this one. Today, a sadly forgotten masterpiece in my opinion. Number 4, coming back to a band that I mentioned before, at number 18. To take a look, but at number 4 also more Level 42. Here is Heaven in My Hands, also a single from the Staring at the Sun album. I think it was the first single also. To me it is a total unbelievable and a mysterious thing that this didn't become just as big hit as Lessons in Love or Running in the Family song. Because it really has such an amazing beat, amazing flow, and a groove that is amazing. Fantastic bass here by Mark King, and this definitely is one of my absolute favorite songs by Level 42. I can listen to over and over. And we're going into the metal positions. Number 3 is an artist from an album that we've seen before. I'm talking about my main man, Peter Lemark, and a ballad that is so extremely beautiful and moody. It's called Hemma vid ett hav, Home by the Ocean, or Home at an Ocean. And it describes a couple that, in an attempt to save their relationship, has gone to a house by the sea or by the ocean, and where he feels that nothing can harm them now. And it is extremely well described, and the storyline is very, very exciting, and the mood in this song, the atmosphere is extremely atmospheric and beautiful, and a really beautiful song, one of the best Swedish song I know. So the best placed Swedish song on this chart, naturally, Peter Lemark, Hemma vid ett hav. Number 2, this is a song that some of you might rather place in 1989, but the single came in 1988. And at number 2 we have also another cult classic, Edelweiss, with the Bring Me Edelweiss. Edelweiss come from Austria, and for those of you who doesn't know the story behind this, they read the book created by these guys, the KLF, or the members behind KLF, and the book that they read about how to make a number 1 hit. So they went out and asked the manager of ABBA, Stig Andersson, if they could borrow the song SOS, and he said yes, Stickan Andersson didn't ask Bjorn and Benny, and they got really furious. I remember an interview where Benny Andersson said that he heard this on the song and on the radio in the radio for the first time, and he had to pull the car up and said, "This looks exactly like SOS," and he got really furious. It didn't help the tension between ABBA and their ex-manager back then. That is a story I've heard anyway, been told. But it is what you expect from Austrian music. It is oompa oompa, and it is a fantastic melody that really gets stuck in your head, and it is such an amazing and funny song. And we're at number 1. And I said that there was 2 artists that had 3 songs on this chart. And as you can understand, that this number 1 also had 3 songs on the chart. And my number 1 is Sandra, Heaven Can Wait. Also from one of the best albums ever, Into a Secret Land, the first single from that album. And Into a Secret Land, who is even more atmospheric and dreamy than Sandra's previous amazing albums. And this is such an amazing, dreamy and relaxing song. Such a marvelous production by Michael Cretu, and her voice, of course, and it is so relaxing. Really summer relaxing song, definitely. Always been a huge favorite of mine from Sandra. So that was my 1988. The years that will follow when it comes to year charts is, of course, 1989, but also, if I can find the right month of albums for it, because it's a year that I don't have quite as much as I have for the other years. That is 1979, going back to the 70s. How would that be? We'll see. But until next time, take care everybody, and see ya.